There was once a general who stood on the edge of a battlefield. The morning fog rolled over the hills like a sea of ghosts. The story and the lesson: his army, trembling, silent, waiting for his command. The enemy's banners waved on the horizon, thousands strong, painted with the promise of destruction. The general's hands were steady, his face still calm as marble. Then a young soldier ran up to him, breathless, eyes wide. Every soldier looked to him as if his breath alone could determine whether they would live or die. "Sir," he said, "we are outnumbered. What should we do?" The general did not answer immediately. He watched the horizon. He studied the wind. Then slowly he whispered, "Think, then decide, but let your reason, not your fear, command the moment. Pause." He could have been Epictetus. That general could have been Marcus Aurelius. He could have been you, standing in the middle of life's endless decisions, but with choices, not with swords or shields. Every day, you and I step onto our own battlefields, and like that trembling army, we often feel outnumbered by confusion, by noise, by pressure, and by fear. The decisions that shape the course of our lives. What to say, what to do, what to believe. You are so precious for being here right now. The fact that you clicked and chose to watch this shows your hunger for truth. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not just knowledge, but life for your soul. Please subscribe, like, and share this message so that others, just as precious as you, may also find this light. An age where everyone speaks but few truly think. We live in an age of noise, where everyone reacts but few reflect, where opinions are thrown like stones and silence is seen as weakness. But silence, the Stoics would say, is the birthplace of wisdom. It is in silence that the soul gathers itself. Look at our world, the United States, the great empire of our age. It is in stillness that the fog begins to clear. A land of speed, of ambition, of constant motion. People chase success faster than ever before, yet feel emptier than ever inside. We have technology that can reach Mars, but minds that can't sit still for 5 minutes. We've gained the power to speak to millions, but lost the ability to listen to ourselves. Stoicism calls out across the centuries and says, pause, slow down, step back. For the one who rushes to decide without thinking clearly has already lost the battle. Pause. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire greater than Rome had ever seen, and yet he began each morning by reminding himself that the day would bring arrogance, ignorance, and insult, and that his peace must not depend on others' chaos. That's clarity. Imagine if leaders in America today thought this way. That's mastery. Imagine if you and I made decisions from calm reason, not the emotional storms that toss us about. How different would our relationships be? Our businesses? Our lives? The Stoics believed that thinking clearly is not a luxury. It's survival. It's how you rise above the world's noise and see life as it really is. How many sleepless nights, how many broken relationships, how many regrets have come, not from what is, but from what we fear might be. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We build entire storms in our minds. We turn possibilities into prisons." But Stoicism teaches you to step outside that storm, to look at your thoughts and say, this is fear speaking, this is desire speaking, but I am not my emotions, I am the one who observes them. In a culture that rewards reaction, clear thinking is rebellion. Pause. In a time when people chase applause, silence is power. To think clearly was to live freely. The United States rose because certain men, thinkers like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, were influenced by Stoic principles. They believed that liberty was not just political but spiritual, the freedom to govern oneself before governing others. To decide with reason was to lead with justice. But today we're told to move fast, to post before we process, to react before we reflect, to speak before we understand. And in that speed, we lose clarity. We lose wisdom. We lose ourselves. Pause. There is a kind of strength that looks quiet, a kind of courage that looks calm. That's what Stoicism gives, not coldness but control, not apathy but awareness. It teaches you to be like the general on the hill, still, centered, seeing beyond the noise of battle, because life will always bring pressure. The question is not whether it will come, but how you will respond. Think of a decision you made in anger. How clear was your mind then? How much of what you said you later regretted? You saw things differently, didn't you? Now think of a decision you made in calm, when your heart was still and your soul was quiet. Pause. That is the gift of Stoicism. It gives you back your sight. The Stoic says, between what happens to you and how you react to it, there is a space, and in that space lies your power and your freedom. That space is where clarity lives. You are not powerless. It's where your true self waits to speak. You are not your emotions. You are not the chaos of the world around you. You are the watcher, the thinker, the calm at the center of the storm. In a world that rewards noise, your peace will be your rebellion. And in a society that measures worth by reaction, your stillness will become your strength. In a culture that glorifies speed, your patience will be your superpower. Pause. This is the rise of the Stoic within you, the modern mind that dares to think clearly. Like the men and women who shaped nations through the quiet force of reason. Like the ancient philosophers who built empires not with armies but with understanding. Take a breath. So before you make your next decision, stop. Look within. Ask yourself, is this my reason speaking or my fear? Am I being led by truth or by reaction? Because every great decision, every great revolution, every great life begins with a single act of clarity. And today, you will learn how Stoicism, the philosophy that built the minds of Rome and inspired the founders of the United States, can give you that power to decide wisely, the power to think clearly, to live freely. Because the battle for your mind is the greatest battle you will ever fight, and victory begins the moment you choose to think. The silence before the decision. Pause. In America, every decision is rushed. Fast food, fast money, fast answers. That is momentum disguised as meaning. But the Stoics would say, that is not thinking. We scroll, we swipe, we react, and call it thinking. Marcus Aurelius once said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Those words carry the weight of empires, because in them lies one of life's greatest truths. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you interpret it. Pause. Real thinking begins in silence, the kind of silence the modern world fears. Because silence feels strange in a society addicted to noise. We fear what we might hear if the world stopped talking and our own hearts began to. It's clarity. The Stoics taught that silence is not emptiness. It is the ground where wisdom grows. It's the pause between thought and action where truth is born, not colored by emotion. In that pause, you see things as they really are, not distorted by fear, not manipulated by the opinions of others. Pause. Imagine George Washington before crossing the Delaware River. It was December. The wind was merciless. The men were freezing, exhausted, hungry, and afraid. Defeat seemed certain. But Washington did not panic. He did not rush. He stood still. He let the silence of that icy night speak louder than the fear in his men's hearts. He thought. His calm was not the absence of emotion. It was the mastery of it. His silence was not hesitation. It was calculation. It was the sound of a mind sharpening itself. And from that calm came one of the most decisive victories in American history. Pause. When you slow down before a decision, you begin to separate noise from necessity, the urgent from the important, the loud from the true. We live in a world where everything demands your immediate attention. Notifications, deadlines, opinions, and yet every time you react instantly, You surrender clarity. You give the world control over your mind, because truth doesn't shout. The Stoic says, you cannot hear truth in a storm. It whispers. Think about it. The greatest wisdom in your life rarely came in chaos. It came in moments of stillness, a late night when your heart was quiet, a long walk when the noise faded away. That's when insight spoke. Pause. Silence is not weakness. It's the soil of strength. It's where the roots of reason dig deep. It's where your emotions begin to settle and your soul begins to see. In modern America, silence is almost rebellious. People fill every second, music in the car, podcasts at the gym, screens before sleep. We are terrified of stillness, because stillness forces us to face ourselves. But the Stoic faces that mirror willingly. He knows that silence exposes truth, and truth purifies the mind. Pause. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And self-mastery begins with self-awareness. You cannot be aware if you never stop moving. That's why meditation was not an escape for the Stoics. It was training. Training to control the battlefield of the mind. Training to observe the thoughts before they become words. Training to feel an emotion without being consumed by it. Pause. Imagine America's founding fathers debating freedom. There were tempers, conflicts, disagreements. But there were also moments of profound stillness when they withdrew, reflected, and wrote words that would shape centuries. In that silence, the Constitution was born, because clarity never comes from chaos, it comes from contemplation. The same applies to you. Before every decision, every reaction, every step, you are given a sacred moment. That brief space between stimulus and response, that is your power. That is your freedom. Pause. When you choose to wait, to think, to breathe, you become like Washington on the Delaware, calm amidst confusion, certain amidst uncertainty. The one who can stand still while the world spins, that is the one who leads. Look around. In today's America, we're told to trust your feelings, but feelings are wild horses, powerful but untamed. The Stoic learns to guide them, not be dragged by them. He knows that feelings are real but not always right. Pause. You will face moments where the pressure to decide is overwhelming, where the world screams, "Act now," but wisdom whispers, "Wait," not out of fear, but out of understanding. Because time tests truth. What remains clear after silence, that is what's worth doing. Seneca once wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly. Decisions made in haste often become regrets." Pause. But decisions made in stillness become pillars. Yet the one who learns to pause will see what the rushing cannot. In every American city, people are running, chasing opportunity, chasing status, chasing validation. He will see patterns, he will see people, he will see purpose. That stillness is not laziness, it is precision. Think of a sniper on a mountain, motionless, disciplined, patient, because silence sharpens perception. The same applies to the Stoic mind. Stillness is its weapon. Silence is its aim. Pause. When you find yourself lost in thought, overwhelmed by emotion, uncertain of what to do, stop. Withdraw into silence. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let the storm pass. And when the waters of your mind become clear again, you will see the answer you were too restless to find. Silence does not mean doing nothing. It means doing something higher, listening to reason, aligning with wisdom, waiting for truth. Is it true? The Stoics believed that every decision should pass through 3 gates. Pause. Is it within my control? Is it necessary? These questions cannot be answered in haste, only in silence. So the next time confusion grips you, don't rush to act. Breathe. Don't let pressure become your compass. Listen to that quiet voice within, the voice that is not shaken by emotion or swayed by approval. Reflect. That voice is the Stoic within you. It's the presence of understanding. Remember, silence is not the absence of sound. It's not emptiness. It's alignment. It's where you meet yourself, stripped of the noise of the world. And in that meeting, clarity is born. So pause, be still, think, because the world's greatest victories in battle, in leadership, in life, were not won by those who shouted loudest, but by those who listened deepest. Please subscribe, like, and share this video, because the world needs more thinkers, more calm minds, more souls who know that silence is where strength begins. In the United States, freedom is everything. The weight of choice. It's printed on the currency, sung in the anthems, carved into the hearts of the people. But what is freedom without wisdom? Pause. The Stoics believed that true freedom does not mean doing whatever you want. It means mastering what you feel, because the one who cannot master his emotions will always be a slave to them. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And those words echo through time louder now than ever. How many decisions have we ruined by imagining too many outcomes? By letting fear write the script before life even speaks? We stand before two roads every day. Pause. One easy, one hard. The easy road offers comfort now, and the Stoic, the thinker, the awakened soul, chooses the hard one. The hard road offers peace later, because they know that ease is often the mask of emptiness, while struggle refines the soul. Pause. America itself was born from that choice, from men and women who chose liberty over comfort, truth over approval, courage over convenience. They could have bowed to an empire, but they chose to build one instead, founded not on fear, but on principle. That is Stoicism in motion. That is freedom shaped by discipline. Pause. Choice without wisdom is destruction. Freedom without discipline is chaos. And a nation that celebrates liberty must also honor restraint, or it will lose the very thing it cherishes. Every American wants to be free, but few understand that freedom is not just the absence of chains. It's the presence of character. Pause. You are free the moment you can say no to your impulses. Free when you choose truth over comfort. Free when you act from principle, not pressure. That is the highest liberty the Stoics taught. Marcus Aurelius ruled over millions, yet wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." It could save a soul. That sentence could govern a nation. Pause. Think about it. Every great decision in history has carried weight. The weight of uncertainty, the weight of consequence, the weight of courage. And in that moment, silence becomes heavy but necessary. And the Stoic does not run from that responsibility, because to choose is to bear the responsibility of what comes next. They embrace it. In today's America, choices are endless. Careers, relationships, politics, identity, faith. Pause. But abundance without wisdom is confusion. People drown, not because there are no options, but because there are too many. And in the rush to choose, we forget why we choose. The Stoic asks a different question. Is this choice making me better or weaker? Does this serve my comfort or my character? Pause. Comfort is easy to find. It's sold everywhere. It's in the couch, the screen, the endless scroll. But comfort rarely builds clarity. It dulls the edge of the soul. It's born when you choose what's right over what's easy again and again. Character, on the other hand, is forged through friction. Pause. The Stoic looks at life the way a sculptor looks at stone. Every decision is a chisel strike. Each blow shapes the masterpiece or ruins it. The marble cannot choose the shape, but you can. That is the weight of choice. And that weight is sacred. Pause. Thomas Jefferson once wrote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident." But truth is only self-evident to the mind that seeks it, to the soul that slows down long enough to hear it. Freedom was not born in noise, it was born in reflection. in the quiet rooms where men thought more than they spoke. The Stoic life is the same. Your greatest decisions will not come from haste. Imagine standing at a crossroads. Pause. They will come from humility, from stillness, from the awareness that every choice creates ripples far beyond the moment. To your left, the path of comfort, applause, and ease. To your right, the road of discipline, truth, and solitude. The world will point left. But your soul, your inner Stoic, will whisper, "Go right." Because peace is found there, not comfort. And peace lasts longer. Pause. Seneca warned that he who does not know where he is sailing, no wind is favorable. Without direction, every decision becomes random, a reaction instead of an intention. You may stumble, but you won't wander. But when you live by principle, every choice becomes a compass. Pause. In modern America, the illusion of choice is everywhere. Thousands of products, millions of opinions, endless noise. Yet the most important choice remains the same: to live with wisdom or to live with impulse. The Stoic chooses wisdom, even when it costs comfort, because they know that a calm conscience is worth more than temporary pleasure. So ask yourself, pause, fumble. When I make decisions, am I led by what's right or by what's easy? Do I act from fear or from faith? The easy road gives comfort now, but leaves the soul hungry later. Do I seek approval or integrity? And peace is the fruit of right choice. The hard road gives struggle now, but peace forever. Pause. Look at history. Martin Luther King Jr., standing before the storm, said, "The time is always right to do what is right." Every great American achievement came from men and women who bore the weight of choice. That's Stoicism dressed in courage. That's freedom dressed in sacrifice. Pause. The weight of choice is not meant to crush you. It's meant to shape you. To remind you that every yes and every no is an act of creation. You are building your destiny, decision by decision. So do not fear the weight. Carry it with honor. Because the one who avoids choice avoids growth. And the one who chooses rightly, even when trembling, becomes free in spirit. Pause. The Stoic path is not about perfection. It's about direction. Every wise choice strengthens the mind. Every patient pause refines the soul. Every disciplined decision adds another stone to the foundation of peace. And when life tests you as it will, you'll stand firm. Not because the road was easy, but because you learned how to walk it with reason, not reaction. Pause. So when you make a choice today, ask yourself, am I serving comfort or character? That one question can change everything. Because freedom without wisdom is emptiness, but wisdom with courage, that is the kind of freedom that built nations, changed lives, and awakens the Stoic within you. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. And your share might be the light that helps them choose the right path. Control and chaos. Because someone out there is standing at a crossroads right now. Life will test your clarity. Not once, but over and over again. It will question what you believe, it will shake what you trust, and it will expose what you truly control. You will face rejection. You will face loss. You will face failure. But the Stoics never denied pain, they mastered their response to it. They did not try to run from the storm, they learned how to stand in it without being moved. Pause. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That truth has crossed oceans, survived empires, and still speaks to every human heart, because it touches the core of what it means to live, to be human in a world you cannot control. Pause. In the United States, chaos is constant. The economy rises and falls. Politics divide. Social media screams. The news feeds on fear, and people drown in the flood of noise, opinions, and pressure. But Stoicism whispers a different message. You cannot calm the storm. You can only calm yourself. Pause. When the crowd panics, when the world shouts, when life spins, the Stoic becomes still. They breathe, they center, they remember. Because peace is not found in control of the world, but in control of the self. That is why Marcus Aurelius, while leading Rome through plague and war, wrote these words in his private journal: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was the emperor of the known world, yet he admitted that the only empire truly worth ruling is the mind. Pause. Control is not power. Peace is, and peace begins when you release the illusion that everything must go your way. Pause. Look around. In America today, everyone is trying to control something: their image, their followers, their outcomes, their relationships, their timelines, their destiny. But the Stoic knows, the more you try to control what's not yours, the more you lose control of what is. The moment you try to rule the outside world, you lose authority over your inner world. Pause. Life is a storm, unpredictable, untamed, unstoppable. But within that storm lies a still center, your reason, your faith, your principles. If you can find that center, the chaos loses its power. When you stand calm while others panic, you become a lighthouse in the storm. You lead, not by dominance, but by example. You do not shout louder, you stand steadier. And people will look to you, not because you control the wind, but because you do not bend beneath it. Pause. This is the secret of Stoic strength. Not coldness, but clarity. Not arrogance, but alignment. They accepted pain without letting pain define them. They saw loss not as punishment, but as practice. And they treated chaos as the greatest classroom of life. Pause. In every era, nations rise and fall by how they handle chaos. Some crumble because they react in fear. Others endure because they respond with wisdom. The American story itself is a reflection of that truth. From civil war to civil rights, from depression to innovation, every generation faced storms they could not control, but found peace through courage, unity, and moral resolve. That is Stoicism, lived out in history. Pause. Control what you can, accept what you cannot, and let both teach you peace. That is not surrender, that is mastery. Because control is not about bending life to your will. It's about shaping your will to stand upright in whatever life brings. Pause. Think of a sailor at sea. He cannot control the waves. He cannot stop the wind, but he can adjust the sails. He can choose direction, even when the tide resists him. That is Stoic control, steering the soul when the world refuses to obey. Pause. Epictetus himself was once a slave. He owned nothing, not even his freedom. Yet he taught kings how to live free. Because he discovered the truth, no one can imprison a disciplined mind. No one can steal the peace of a heart anchored in wisdom. Pause. In America, freedom is celebrated, but inner freedom is forgotten. People shout about rights while neglecting reason. They demand control over systems, but lose control of their emotions. They win arguments online, but lose peace in their hearts. And yet, Stoicism calls us back, not to silence, but to sanity, to rise above noise, to reclaim the power that chaos cannot touch, the power over our thoughts, words, and actions. Pause. When the stock market crashes, when a relationship ends, when dreams fail, ask yourself the Stoic's question: is this within my control? If it is, act with courage. If it is not, release it with faith. Either way, peace follows. Pause. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's the essence of Stoic clarity, the power to choose your perspective. Because reality is less about what happens, and more about what you decide it means. Pause. Chaos cannot destroy you if you refuse to let it inside you. The fire outside cannot burn the one who guards their peace within. And that's what makes Stoicism timeless. It's not about escaping life, but mastering it from the inside out. Pause. In a world that measures success by control, Stoicism measures greatness by calm. The calm to think when others react, the calm to listen when others shout, the calm to endure when others quit. That is not weakness, that is the highest form of strength. Pause. Life will always be a balance between control and chaos. You cannot eliminate one, you can only learn to walk between them. To hold order in one hand and surrender in the other. To fight where you must and flow where you cannot fight. Pause. And in that balance you'll discover a secret. Peace is not found when the storm ends. Peace is found when the storm no longer controls you. Pause. So today, as you face your own storm, the noise, the confusion, the unknown, remember, you cannot calm the storm. You can only calm yourself. And when you do, you'll discover that your calm changes everything around you. Like still water reflecting the sky, your peace becomes contagious. It spreads quietly, powerfully, beautifully. That's how the Stoic leads, not with control, but with composure. Pause. Control what you can, accept what you cannot, and let both teach you peace. Because chaos is inevitable, but calm is a choice. And that choice will always be yours. Troi bon ebitwane det taiv, keen ferment dokat, tron crade in that type that royas faustav. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. Because someone, somewhere, is standing in their storm right now, and your share might be the voice that reminds them. Peace is still possible. The clear mind. What is a clear mind? It is not empty. It is free. It is not the absence of thought. It is the presence of understanding. It sees life as it is, not as fear paints it. Pause. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, yet he wrote in his journal, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. Clarity is action guided by wisdom. It is not a theory, it is a practice. Not spoken, but lived." Pause. To think clearly is to remove the fog of emotion, ego and haste, and see reality with honesty. And that kind of honesty is rare, because it demands that we face ourselves. It demands that we silence the noise inside before we can judge the noise outside. Pause. In America, success is measured by how much we achieve, by what we build, what we buy, what we display. But the Stoic measures success differently. Not by what is gained, but by what is governed. Not by possessions, but by perception. Pause. A man can own the world and still live in confusion. Another can own nothing and yet live with peace. The difference is not in what they have, but in how they think. The Stoic's goal is not to escape life, but to see it clearly, to meet each moment as it comes, without exaggeration or despair. Pause. A clear mind is not easily shaken. It watches the storm and says this too is part of life. It faces failure and whispers, this is training. It looks at success and reminds itself, this too shall pass. Pause. In the United States, clarity is often traded for speed. We move fast, speak fast, decide fast. But the faster we go, the more we blur what we see. We react before we reflect. We pursue before we pause. And in that rush, wisdom disappears. Pause. The Stoic teaches us to slow down, to think, to breathe, to separate what is real from what is reaction. Seneca once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Our minds can create storms that never existed, and the only way to stop them is to return to reason. Pause. A clear mind is not passive, it is disciplined. It is the soldier who polishes his armor in peace so that he can fight with purpose in war. It is the leader who listens before he commands. It is the parent who teaches through calm rather than anger. It is the thinker who questions before believing. Pause. Clarity is not something you find, it's something you build. You build it every time you refuse to let emotion rule over reason. Every time you choose patience over pride. Every time you think before you speak. That is Stoic practice, one quiet decision at a time. Pause. America has achieved greatness through innovation and ambition, but even a powerful nation must guard its mind. Because when clarity dies, chaos takes its place. The Stoic knows this. Empires fall not from lack of strength, but from lack of sense. When emotion becomes policy, when pride becomes direction, destruction follows. Pause. And so it is with every human life. When anger makes your choices, you lose control. When fear dictates your actions, you lose peace. When ego clouds your view, you lose truth. But when clarity returns, everything aligns. Pause. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If your thoughts are clear, your life becomes clear. If your thoughts are pure, your actions become powerful. Pause. Imagine standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon. The air still, the world vast. For a moment, everything is silent. You are reminded of how small you are, yet how powerful your mind can be. That is the moment of clarity. Not fear, not confusion, just awareness. Deep, peaceful awareness. Pause. To think clearly is to see the world and yourself with balance. To know that victory and loss are temporary. To understand that people's opinions do not define you. To realize that peace begins where reaction ends. Pause. America's founding fathers, Jefferson, Franklin, and Washington, were deeply inspired by Stoic thought. They built a nation upon the idea that reason should rule passion, that truth must stand above comfort, and that liberty begins first in the mind. The same principle still applies to you, to me, to anyone seeking clarity in chaos. Pause. The Stoics believed that a clear mind connects to divine reason, the logos, the rational order that governs the universe. To think clearly is to align your mind with that higher wisdom, to trust that there is order even when life looks chaotic, and that your role is not to control it, but to live in harmony with it. Pause. You cannot think clearly while clinging to resentment. You cannot see truth while blinded by ego. You cannot feel peace while feeding on noise. A clear mind begins where these things end. It begins when you forgive, when you release, when you listen. Pause. You gaze. To see clearly is to understand that life is both fragile and sacred. That time is short, but meaning is eternal. That every decision, no matter how small, is a reflection of your inner order. Pause. So when you wake tomorrow, do not rush to check your phone. Do not race to compete. Begin with stillness. Breathe. Ask yourself, what do I control? What truly matters today? And then act from that stillness. That is clarity. Pause. A clear mind does not chase, it chooses. It does not beg for approval, it builds character. It does not react, it responds. The man or woman who sees clearly can walk through storms with serenity and lead others home. They are the calm in the crisis, the reason in the noise, the light in the confusion. Pause. And when life challenges them, they do not panic. They remember, this is what I trained for. Because clarity is not a gift, it's a discipline born of daily practice. Pause. The Stoics were warriors of thought. Their battles were internal, their victories invisible but eternal. And today, that battle continues in us. Every thought is a decision between clarity and confusion, between truth and emotion, between reason and reaction. Pause. The world will always test your clarity. But remember this, you cannot lose what you choose to guard. And the clearest mind is the one anchored in truth. Pause. What is a clear mind? It is not empty, it is free. It does not escape the world, it engages it with grace. It does not see only what it wants. It sees what is. Pause. So when the noise rises and life demands 1,000 answers, be still. See, think, and then act, not from fear, but from wisdom. Because that is what the Stoics did, and that is what the world needs again. Please subscribe, like, and share this video, because wisdom is the only light that never fades. And somewhere out there, someone is searching for that light, and you can be the one to bring it to them. The final word, pause. There will come a day when you will face a decision that could change your life. It may not look like it at first. It may come quietly in an email, a phone call, a conversation, a moment when your heart hesitates between two roads. You'll feel the pull of emotion, the weight of uncertainty, the noise of other people's voices telling you what they think you should do, and then you'll remember this moment. This quiet lesson, this philosophy that has crossed centuries and still speaks with the calm voice of reason. You'll remember that clarity does not shout. It whispers, and the whisper will say, "You already know what to do. Pause." Because deep down, you always did. The Stoics believed that wisdom is not something to be found, it's something to be remembered. It has always been there, buried beneath fear, ego, and noise. When you strip those away, what remains is the voice of reason, the soul's compass. Pause. Think clearly. Decide bravely. Live wisely. These 3 sentences are not just advice, they are a way of life. They are the foundation of Stoic power. They are the pillars that held the greatest minds in history. Pause. Marcus Aurelius ruled with them. Epictetus endured slavery with them. Seneca faced death with them. And America's founding thinkers, Franklin, Jefferson, Washington, built a nation with them. Because they understood something timeless. That the strength of a country, like the strength of a man, begins in the clarity of the mind. Pause. Today we live in an age of noise, constant movement, constant distraction. Our decisions are shaped by pressure, not purpose. By popularity, not principle. But the Stoic path calls you back to what is real. To silence. To self-control. To truth. Pause. There will be days when everything feels heavy. When confusion clouds your judgment. When the future feels blurred. In those moments, remember the Stoic general standing still before battle. He did not let fear lead him, he let reason guide him. And reason always whispers. It never rushes. Pause. Clarity is not about knowing everything. It's about seeing clearly the next right thing. It's about taking one honest step, even when the rest of the path is hidden. You may not control outcomes, but you can control your clarity. You can control your response, and that is enough. Pause. Think clearly. Decide bravely. Live wisely. That is Stoicism condensed into life itself. Because every decision you make, no matter how small, builds the architecture of your destiny. Pause. The Stoics compared life to an arrow. Once it leaves the bow, you cannot control where the wind will carry it. But you can control your aim. You can control the release. You can ensure it flies with intention. So aim with wisdom. Act with peace. And trust that the outcome, whatever it may be, will serve your growth. Pause. In America today, people chase control and lose clarity. We drown in information, but starve for wisdom. We argue endlessly, but forget to understand. We hurry to speak, but rarely stop to think. But if you can be the one who slows down, breathes deeply, and listens to reason, you will stand out. Not by shouting louder, but by thinking clearer. Not by moving faster, but by moving rightly. Pause. The Stoic is not against emotion, he simply refuses to be enslaved by it. He feels deeply, but acts deliberately. He listens to fear, but does not obey it. He hears the noise, but he does not lose the melody. That is the mark of clarity, the art of staying centered while the world spins. Pause. There will come a time when others will look to you for direction. in the family, in the workplace, in moments of chaos. They will see that you are calm, unmoved, thoughtful, and they will ask, how do you stay so clear when everything is uncertain? And you will smile, because you'll know the secret. It's not that the world got easier, it's that you became still inside it. Pause. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Think of that. Whatever thoughts you hold, they shape you. If you think with anger, you become chaos. If you think with peace, you become strength. If you think with clarity, you become light. Pause. And that is why the clear mind is powerful. It leads nations. It heals wounds. It creates peace in a world that thrives on conflict. It teaches that true power is self-mastery, not control over others, but control over self. Pause. In every age, from Rome to America, the same truth has survived. A calm mind sees farther than a frightened one. A clear mind builds, while a confused one destroys. And the one who can think, truly think, becomes unshakable. Pause. The Stoic rise is not loud. It is quiet. It is inward. It happens every morning. You choose patience over pride. Every night you reflect before you sleep. Every time you turn pain into purpose instead of complaint. That is the rise of the Stoic within you. Pause. The world does not need more noise. It needs more clarity. It does not need more power. It needs more peace. And it begins with you. One mind, one choice, one act of calm courage at a time. Pause. So when you stand before your next decision, big or small, do not rush. Do not panic. Do not seek permission from the crowd. Seek truth within. And when that quiet voice speaks, follow it. Because that voice is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the divine echo of reason that has guided humanity since the dawn of time. Pause. You already know what to do. You just need the stillness to hear it. Pause. Think clearly. Decide bravely. Live wisely. For that is the rise of the Stoic within you. Pause. And when you do, when your mind becomes still and your choices become clean, you will see that life was never chaos at all. It was always asking you to see, to learn, to rise. Pause. So, stand tall. Be slow to speak, quick to think, and let your clarity lead you where confusion once tried to stop you. That is the final word. The word of stillness. The word of strength. The word that does not fade when the video ends, but lives on in every decision you make from this moment forward. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. Because wisdom, true wisdom, is the only light that never fades. And by sharing this message, you pass that light forward, so that someone somewhere, lost in the noise of life, may finally find the calm they've been searching for.